the ups and downs of life that we all have suddenly become this massive mental health problem. And a lot of those people, I believe, are claiming PIP. They should not be receiving it. We've got to empower the doctors, the decision makers, to put their foot down and say, no, you're not getting it. You get a job.
Steve, good to talk to you. Lovely to see you. Now, Steve, this is a bit of a shocker, isn't it? Obesity, that people can now claim disability benefits for that, when ultimately most people are fat now, say, because they eat too much or, they don't do enough exercise. That is the main reason. Is that reasonable for people to be claiming benefits for that?
Well, listen, I think what the voters want, the ordinary public, like people like me, what we want is people that have genuine disabilities to be looked after and to receive benefit. What we don't want is people that fake the system. And I'm sorry, there are people out there that fake the system. We all know one, I am sure. I know people on PIP that actually have celebrated. They're having a PIP party because they're not now going to lose it, when in fact they probably should. Coming back to being too fat, it is ludicrous. It's fat fakery. That's what it reeks of. If you are fat, there is always something you can do about it. There is always a solution. And actually, work is great if you're fat, because often you're eating too much because you're bored. You are bored stiff. So I say, ditch your PIP, get your backside off the sofa and get yourself into work and stop faking it. And that might sound blunt, but it's meant to, because we have developed a culture in this country of victimhood. Everyone now, I've got mental health issues. Yes, a lot of people do have genuine mental health problems. They should be looked after. But I'm telling you, and I've been one of them, I've been on the medication, but I still went to work. And a lot of those people are going to be more depressed if they don't get themselves into work. Right, so we should. Yeah. So when it comes to sorting this problem out, yes, we need stronger interviews. People need face-to-face, not a telephone interview. And did you know there are TikTok videos out there? It's laughable, that actually describe how to make your PIP points higher so that you get it. The problem in the Commons today is you've got everyone not wanting to upset their constituents. They're all wanting to be politically correct. We need politicians with balls who are bold to get the job done and say to the shirkers, you're getting your backside into work.
But but the doctors must be enabling this, not maybe deliberately, but somebody has to say...
they're nervous.
Well, somebody has to say, oh, you've got ADHD, oh, you're too fat.
On that point, there's a significant change that happened around about COVID, which is, as Steve, you say, no longer in-person interviews, on the telephone interviews. And the dropout rate massively dropped. When you had an in-person interview, lots of people who applied would just the day before drop out, perhaps because they think they couldn't fake it in front of a person. A hell of a lot less likely to drop out when it's a telephone interview, and more than that...
This is the problem with the lockdown. Listen, the lockdown made a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people lazy. So they got to the point at the end of it, I've been receiving my dosh, I can still enjoy myself, and I know what I'll do now. I'll get this PIP thing that they brought out. I have a condition, I won't go into it, but I could probably claim PIP, and if I did, I'd be a fraud, but I reckon I could get it if I tried.
No, that is a really interesting point, because the incentives of the system are all... Go and get your PIP, watch your TikTok video, it tells you exactly how to do it and how to answer those questions on the phone. You could read off a script even on a phone interview. And the assessors that are doing it are on performance-related pay. Yeah, so this is something that Fraser Nelson has been pointed to, the Times columnist, saying that actually they get paid more if they approve more people onto the benefits.
Doctors are also nervous. You put yourself in their position, we've got to empower the decision makers to actually be bolder and braver to say, no, you're not having PIP because you're too fat. Yes, you are a bit, the ups and downs of life that we all have suddenly become this massive mental health problem. And a lot of those people, I believe, are claiming PIP. They should not be receiving it. We've got to empower the doctors, the decision makers, to put their foot down and say, no, you're not getting it, you get a job.
And yet, Steve, one of the things that the government has announced now, one of the things the government has said is that they are rolling back on their original reforms, which was going to take away some of the PIP from some of the people that might have more marginal cases and all the rest of it. Instead, it's only going to be about new claimants. That's what the vote is in Parliament today all about. What do you make of that, Steve? That actually, I'm looking at these numbers here, the hundreds of thousands of people who've been added to these benefits over just the last couple of years. they're all completely unaffected by what's going on in Parliament today.
I think it's dire. And I can imagine, like I mentioned earlier, there are PIP parties going on every, many streets in the UK. Yes, I'm going to still get my PIP. And it's quite a bit of money, for these people. And I can tell you this, hand on heart, I know many people who get PIP and they are down the boozer, spending the bit. Oh, I've had my PIP money through. Meet me down at the pub at 2:00. Trust me on that one. That is the reality. It's not about being cruel to people. Yes, look after people in genuine need. But we're now in a situation where we don't have a government that's brave enough and bold enough to make tough decisions. Getting the assessors to say, no, you're not going to get it. They're too meek and mild. They're worried they're going to lose their seat.
Well, I was going to say as well, it's not just that as well, the employers as well, because a lot of people on PIP are actually in work as well. Yeah. So the wages are so low or just not good enough for you to actually live on. The government could intervene and do something there as well to ensure that people are paid properly.
Well, I've got a statistic on that one.
Yeah.
Did you know it is an in-work benefit, but 1 in 8 people on PIP are in work?
Yeah.
It's extra cash. And if there are a lot of people out there that know how to play the system. They know how to play the system. They watch the TikTok videos. They talk to their pals. This is the reality of the world. And people like me are fed up of it. Why should hardworking people go to work, pay their taxes to fund some lazy so-and-so who can't be bothered to get their backside in to do a good day's work for a decent day's pay?
All right, Steve Miller, lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much. That's Steve Miller. He's the former host of Fat Families.
Absolutely. And, I think everyone's got an opinion on this, right? I think it's clear that the government stuck their foot in it initially, but perhaps they've gone too far back the other way now.
I think they've just got it wrong.
Yeah.
It's just wrong. It's not the right... I think a lot of young people, perhaps, who are claiming benefits, people who supposedly have some mental health, not all of them, I know a lot of them are genuine, but you need to be working. There's nothing worse than ruminating about...
Surely the most simple thing is get back those in-person assessments.
Exactly.
Number one, before anything else, have people in-person assessed.
And if you are overweight and claiming PIP, then you should just get out and maybe do some exercise and eat less food. So, Christopher, Kemi Badenoch spoke, also Liz Kendall. What were your thoughts? And can you give us a bit of a summary of what was discussed there?
Yeah, I think it's fascinating what we heard there. We heard from Liz Kendall, I thought the most telling thing she said was towards the end of her long speech opening that debate, saying there that welfare reform is, to be honest, never easy, particularly for a Labour government. We've listened to the concerns, she said, and we are reflecting that in the change here. This is the amendment here, which is going to be voted on at 7 p.m. tonight. This is a wrecking amendment signed by 39 Labour MPs, which would pull the bill altogether from the House of Commons, and that's why it's so important. We're having that vote at 7 tonight. At 10 to 8, we get the debate on the substantive second reading plan here. They've halved the cuts they want to make from 5 billion to 2.5 billion. It will push maybe 150,000 people into relative poverty. That's what this poverty modelling has said from the government, but the actual impact assessment is out next week at the committee stage. We'll wait and see how that plays out. Lots of Labour MPs concerned about it, but no question that Labour is intent on pushing forward with these plans, which goes against really what so many in Labour stand for and got into politics for. We heard also there from Kemi Badenoch, and she said, rightly, that there are 3,000 people every day moving on to incapacity benefits, up 50%, she says, since Labour came to power a year ago on Friday. By the end of the decade, the welfare bill will be bigger than the defence budget. She says that's not possible to carry on with, and she would make further tougher changes were she the Prime Minister. So the debate started now, and we'll be following all day in Parliament for GB News viewers.
And Chris, this reasoned amendment that Rachel Mescal has put down, 39 names on the order paper, you've got it there, 39 Labour names attached to it. I've been seeing from some journalists that they reckon it's now up to either 42 or even 44. It does look like this number is growing. Clearly, the number 50 was being tossed around this morning, but they need over 80 if the government's to be defeated.
Tom, that's right. The figure is 83. The working majority, if 83 MPs voted against the government, not abstaining, voting against the government, this bill would fall, and it would trigger a complete crisis in a week when this government is meant to be marking and celebrating its 1-year anniversary of being in power. As you say, it's going to keep creeping up slowly. That will carry on all day. Ministers are debating and talking to backbench Labour MPs, pleading with them to get past this stage. Maybe more changes can be made in the committee stage when it comes back on Wednesday next week. So there are opportunities in the future to change this, but get it past this opportunity. For the government's point of view, from Sir Keir Starmer, he is marking today as a day of achievement. He has told his cabinet in terms that they've done well this year. We should be looked back with pride on what we've done as a government, citing things like 3 trade deals, 4 interest rate falls, reforms to breakfast clubs, free school meals, billions tipped in the NHS and money for defence, although the expense of the aid budget. He sees this week as a moment of marking and with pride what's happened, but the voters are blowing them a massive raspberry, frankly, with this government being seen by Sir John Curtis, the supreme pollster in this country, that Sir Keir Starmer's had the worst start of any Prime Minister ever, Tory or Labour. So you've got one idea being pushed by the Labour government. They are going forward. They're going to press forward with their plan for change, while everyone else largely is shrugging so far.
OK, well, Christopher Hope, thanks for bringing us the very latest there from the heart of Westminster. Now, we should remind ourselves of what this debate is all about, the ballooning welfare bill. And there's been some research done by the Taxpayers Alliance that just gives you a little idea of how much this welfare bill is ballooning. In 2019, there were 26,000 people claiming PIP, personal independence payments, for autism. Now that's over 114,000. Anxiety and depression, 23,000 in 2019, now 110,000.
Odd, isn't it?
ADHD, 4,000 in 2019, now 37,000. And get this one, obesity. Yes, you can claim disability benefits if you're fat, and just over 2,000 people did that in 2019. Today, 11,228 claiming personal independence payments for obesity.
All of that, though, a lot of it seems to be ever since COVID, isn't it? We need to get ourselves back there.